Alright everyone, it's Mr. G once again. Today we are going back to subtraction. We're going to basically make equivalent fractions and subtract. And also there might be some that have mixed numbers in them. We'll have to subtract those as well. But again, we remember, hopefully, how to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm going to do A, C, and E for you like usual, and we'll leave the rest up for you. Excuse me, up to you. Okay, let me zoom in here for letter A. The stand jiggles around a little too much. Okay, here we go. Sorry about the jiggling there. So our first one, number 1A, is 1/2 minus 1/3. Again, I see the two denominators are not the same, so I need to figure out how to make them the same. I'm going to rewrite this just a little bit bigger here. Okay. And again, remember our rule of thumb, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to multiply this side by this denominator times 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, but with this denominator times 2 times 2. And I can see that these will both be over 6 now. So 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Now we have the same denominator, so we can subtract the top numbers, the numerator. This is all going to be over 6, of course. And then 3 minus 2 is 1. Our final answer, 1/6. Okay. Not overly difficult. Again, just making these equivalent fractions can be a little tricky. If you have any problems with that, again, please let me know. Like if you really don't know, and if you're confused, it's perfect time to do it. It's, you know, it'll just be me and you. You don't have to be embarrassed. You know, whatever. Just let me know. Okay, we're going to move to C now. A little bit trickier. We have 7/8 minus 3/4. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, making equivalent fractions is not always super difficult. I'm going to rewrite this again just to give myself some room here. So I'm going to say 7/8 minus 3/4. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I skip count by 8s, I would have 8, 16. I don't know if I can fit that over here. Here we go. I have like 8, 16, 24. But if I skip counted by 4s, I would have 4, 8. And ladies and gentlemen, right there, 8. 8 is the lowest common denominator. This one is already in eighths, so I don't need to change it at all. I'm going to leave this as 7/8. Okay. But this one, I do need to change. And to do that, I have to think, what would I need to multiply 4 by to get to 8? Think about it. Times, that's right, 2. Times 2 up here. Okay, so now I have 7/8 minus, I know this is going to be eighths. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, and again, ladies and gentlemen, from here, it's pretty simple. It's going to be over 8, because we're working with eighths. 7/8 minus 6/8 gives me 1/8 at the end. Again, this one was even easier than the first one because we didn't even have to change this fraction, just this one. Okay, now letter E is where we get some mixed numbers thrown into the mix. Hey, you get it? Thrown into the mix. And things can get a little bit more complex. Okay, so here's what I'm going to think. I'm going to say, okay, 1 3/10 minus 1/6. Now, I showed us a trick before we left. I'll do it really quickly over here on a blank piece of paper. Not a blank piece of paper. Sorry for that little nothingness. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's say we have 1 3/5. Okay, I told us, or we kind of learned that to make a improper fraction, what we would have to do is we take this number, so the denominator, we multiply that by the whole number. Okay, so denominator times whole. Okay, plus the numerator. So you can think of it, d times w plus n, with this being the d, this being the w, and this being the n. Again, denominator, whole number, numerator. Okay, so if I plug this all in, I would say 5 times 1 plus 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3. Ugh, goodness. Sorry, guys. 5 times 1 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5. And then plus 3 is 8. Okay, so we're going to do the same formula, but for our problem with letter E. Okay. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to write it out here. We have the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I'm going to say I have 10 times 1 plus 3. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, that answer is going to be all over tenths still. Okay, so 10 times 1 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is 13, but we have to put this over the original denominator. So 1 and 3/10 is the same thing as saying I have 13 tenths. Okay, so now what we can do, 13 tenths minus 1/6. Okay, so now we need to figure out, ladies and gentlemen, where 10 and 6 meet up, their first place. The rule of thumb would say multiply this side by 6, multiply this side by 10, which is okay, but there's actually a place where they meet before that. Okay, I'm going to do a little skip counting over here. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and then for 6's, I would say 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Look at that. So ladies and gentlemen, these two meet at 30 before they meet at 60. So I have to think, what am I going to multiply this side by to get 10s into 30ths? And what am I going to multiply this side by to get 6 into 30ths? Okay, I'm going to get rid of this just so there's some room, even though there really isn't a whole lot of room. I'm going to kind of end up going down into the letter G area here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I know 10 times 3 would get me 30, and 6 times 5 will get me 30. So that means I need to multiply this top by 5, and this top by 3. This should still remain an improper fraction. So I'm going to do this whole thing down here. I'm going to scoop the scoop. Okay, so we're working with over 30. I know that 6 times 5 is 30, and then 1 times 5 is 5. And then I have to think about 13 times 3 would be 39. So, ladies and gentlemen, after all that work, we have 39 30ths minus 5 30ths. Okay? Again, this is all going to be, I'm just going to keep going down, down, down here. It's all going to be over 30. 39 minus 5 would give me 34. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, this is an acceptable answer. This is an acceptable answer. Like, this is no problem. 34 30ths is fine. However, you can simplify this. Okay, remember, if I have, a numerator that's larger than the denominator, okay, that means it's a whole number plus a fraction. So I know that if I had 30 30ths, I'd have one whole. And I have to think, well, how many left do I have over? 34 minus 30 is 4. 4 30ths. Okay. Again, I'm just writing this all over the place. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all said and done. Okay, so this is equal to 1 and 4 30ths. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to think, can 4 and 30 both be divided by any number? I can think that, I know 4 can be divided by 2, and 30 can also be divided by 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is say 2, divided by 2. And this is going to give me, the whole number stays the same. 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So your end answer should be 1 2/15. Okay, so check this out, you guys. Let me zoom out. Oh my gosh. Look where I started and look where I ended. This is ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a faster way to solve this and you want to share that, please let me know. I'm just trying to do it how I know how to do it. Again, turning this into an improper fraction, then finding the lowest common denominator of 30, then doing the subtraction, then getting our answer 34 over 30, then changing that into a mixed number, 30 over 30, which would also be plus 4 over 30, which would also be 1 4/30, then simplifying that fraction down to 1 2/15. Oh my goodness. Okay. Again, ladies and gentlemen, these three are done. I need you to do B, D, F, and G, and then you should be good to go. Have a good day. Sorry about all this confusion.